Okay, so it uses gesture control, which is cool, but it's a touchscreen. I could have just pulled the screen, intuitively that's the first thing I want to do. I just absolutely love how BMW integrate the various on-screen UI or augmented reality onto the graphics. Okay, first off, when we're reversing our car, obviously the rear view has to be the largest, and the 360 is a reference, and this is the perfect way of doing it. I do not know why Volvo still puts the entire screen in 360 and then you cannot pop up a rear view like that in any way. You can only press the rear camera and the whole thing changes to rear view only. Please, Volvo, please look at what BMW is doing. Please copy it. Just copy it. Yeah. Oh, you're Chinese owned. Okay, let's not use the word copy. Just cross-reference it. Okay, car makers cross-reference all the time, and here is not a snow angel, but it looks like one. Is to indicate the doors. When you open your door, how far you reach out. That shows how silly car park boxes are drawn, right? Now this car also has the famous reversing assistant that practically no one uses in real world, but in case you need to, the car can reverse you out of a sticky situation the way you went in at the first place. Basically, it remembers how you steer yourself into that shit, and then it will use the same way to steer you back out. All right, park assist, auto parking, of course, no qualms. Okay, what is this? I can change the camera views. Look at that. Look at that. Can you see what it did? Right? Oh. No way. Does it do that? Do we have the augmented 360? Maybe I don't. Never mind. And what are these? These are actually the augmented reality on objects, So if you have nothing behind you and then something like that stoots up, be prepared. Okay? Why is that music? Why did the music came up? For no reason. Okay, anyway. Yup. A 3D view. There we go. It's here. Yes. Wait. Since it's a touchscreen, why can't I just touch and rotate around? I cannot. I have to do this. Yeah. Wait, Okay, so it uses gesture control, which is cool, but it's a touchscreen. I could have just pulled the screen, intuitively that's the first thing I want to do. All right, nevertheless, this is great. BMW has the best, I think, along with Land Rover Defender as well. Anyway, yep, that's the infotainment system. All right, over here, I think it's all right. I mean, Mercedes actually gave a lot more options to fiddle with it. Okay, let's look at the exterior of the car. Now, before I go off, let's talk about this infotainment system. Okay. Again, like I said, BMW used to be one of the easiest to use. I mean, they're still not difficult to use if you give it a little bit of patience and you are familiar with it already. But all in all, I just find the new system in the touchscreen environment BMW needs to put more homework at it, because as far as I'm concerned, with the plethora of things that you have inside, they need to rethink their approach of grouping them into five main options. I mean, what's the point of having 5 main options when you are in a touchscreen environment now, right? So, but nevertheless, BMW is one of the best. You know, they have their, I mean, in terms of Bluetooth, in terms of mirroring, in terms of interfacing with whatever it is, they're really good. But you just look at the menu system, right? Just look at the menu system now. Of course, the gesture controls are a bit annoying if you are talking and you're Italian and in the car, okay? Because you need your hand gestures. Now, from a screen that big, right, it would have been a little bit easier to not have the person, if it's their first time, to read 3 rows of stuffs. It's all text, right? I believe it would be a little bit easier if they actually use the icons that people understand instead of something like that, you know, to represent stuffs, and then with smaller text. But nevertheless, that's BMW's approach. You know, people call it phone, they call it communications, yes, which is not wrong. And all of a sudden you are in a screen whereby the entire screen real estate only consists of this, all right, with 5 main menus, and then on the other side 70% of the screen is just some random graphics to represent what you are selecting now. Look at that. Oh, this one doesn't. This one has its own icon. This one, look at that, is a giant icon just to show what you selected. Or this one doesn't show the giant icon, but it says that there's no phone connected, okay? And then BMW Assistance, one giant logo there, right? Messages, this size of a logo, it should be messages. Yeah, look at that. They're not using their screen real estate well, you know. I mean, why can't it be that when I'm in contact, look at that, you press all the way here and there are only 2 options: connect a new phone or manage mobile devices. You know, mobile devices, you know, we have TJ, you know. So I think if this is mobile devices, why can't you immediately show who is connected, right? Why must I go through another click? Oh, and then if I didn't click correctly, I pull it up, and then there's another menu that pops down. And then when the menu pops down, there is also another thing for you to pull further. Is it? No. Okay. So, I don't know. Look at that. See, there's a lot of layering, and then when you arrive there are very few options to do. So why you hide them all the way in there when there's only so little to do? That's what I mean. And then sometimes the big icons are down here, and then you have a main graphic on top. Sometimes you don't get graphics and they are here, and it's just 3 lines of text, and then there's another graphic there. So like I said, they need to relook into this already. They were the best, but with all these options, all these functions out there now, right, they are no longer the best. It's definitely not the easiest. Yesterday I was just trying to adjust the rear passenger the second row's aircon vents, and I was like, do I go into caring? Because look at that, from the icons you saw a fan, right? And you saw lights, right? You thought, okay, maybe this is where I go in to adjust the things that the car care about me. Caring car. And then as I go in, I get 2 options: vitalize or relax. I'm like, dude, is this some? And then we have vitalize and relax. But on top of here, we have an experience mode, which has executive, expressive, well-being. I think BMW is going into some God mode here, okay? Apparently it's in settings. Yeah, it's in settings, and then climate control, I found it. And then when I came here, I was like, okay, when I came here, it was this option, right? It's like air quality. Okay, I want the best quality. And then heating, ventilation. I said, okay, maybe this adjusts my heating, my seat heating or my seat ventilation. Then I just skip down here, and then I see driver seat, passenger seat. Again, heating, seat heating. Was like, but this is also seat heating, right? And then this is also seat heating. And then, oh, climate control. This is it. This is where I go in to adjust the rear aircon vents for the second row, right? With a giant fan there. And then I click in, and I'm like, what? Below 10 degrees Celsius, and the seat heating is turned on automatically. Okay, so this is for ventilation. And if it is over 15, it will turn on the ventilation. If it is below 10, it will turn on the heating. Wow. Some AI stuff here, but they call it regulation climate control. They did not call it automatic seat heating. You see, this is seat heating, this is seat, and then this is seat as well. I'm like, oh, okay, so where is it? Is it auxiliary? What do you mean? Auxiliary ventilation? And not available now, given that, you know, at the end, it was here. Heating, ventilation, and then you come inside here, second row, and then it's from here that you adjust the left and right temperature of the rear climate control. Or you can put it under automatic. It will try its best to achieve this degree of Celsius, and then from there you can choose for it to have the level low or high, because high is very noisy. I just find this whole thing so confusing for a first timer, but I don't think it's confusing for others. Okay, seat comfort. I wanted to come in here to adjust this seat, to move it to the back, and then I saw the option, yes, passenger seat, boom, and I can't adjust it. You know, I can only save it as position 1, and then it's safe. You know, I mean, I can't quickly come in here and select that seat and then use my own controls to control the seat, which, I mean, Volvo can. It's so easy, right? Just select that. Maybe it's somewhere in here, but if I cannot find it, it's not my fault. Okay, exterior lighting, you get what I mean. Sometimes it's an option, sometimes it's a tick, sometimes, yes, that's what I mean. All right, this needs a serious relook. It's super confusing now. All right, enough of babbling. Let's go and drive.
When I switched to Pro mileage, in my case, I got 46-47% of savings for that car.
Pro mileage was the only one that gave me 5,000 extra value to cover, yet still cheaper, a lot less. A lot
Turn
less.
up!
Is the car huge and just massive, colossal, and makes you look more than you need to when you drive? Definitely. This feels like driving those type of cars, like a Rolls-Royce Cullinan or a Range Rover Vogue. Okay, I know Vogue is a spec, I know Autobiography is a spec, but they don't give that car a name now because that car's name has turned into a range of cars, into a sub-brand itself. So I can only call it Vogue. That's the XC90. XC90 also has 3 rows. It's larger than the X5, but it's smaller than this car. Alright? The third row of XC90 fits an adult like me, but not in the level of comfort as this. This car drives decent, but not as tidy as the XC90. I'll explain later. Okay. The XC90 is the size of an X5, but slightly larger with really good packaging and the third row works for adults, even barely, but works. Okay, this one has gone into the dimensions of no longer as easy to drive as an X5, and of course not as easy to drive as the XC90. But I tell you what, if you hire a driver, this is a fantastic car. Fantastic car. It's not clumsy in any way. Okay, it is not a clumsy car, but it's huge and it's tall. Center of gravity is high. The one thing I really like about this car is the calibration of the throttle mapping and gearbox, basically the drivetrain configuration. It shows BMW did their homework here, because if I'm a driver, I want to be able to drive my boss in a way whereby I lightly move my feet and the car reacts. You know, basically millimeters, depressing the throttle millimeters, and I want the car to correspond directly with me, because this is a very good way for you to regulate your motion when you're driving, when you want to ferry a passenger at the back in absolute comfort. Now, back in those days, big engine cars with a lot of torque, okay, and naturally aspirated cars, it's very easy to do this throttle. Basically, when it's easy for us to regulate our throttle in this manner. Basically, the pedal and the feet, any small movement, the car corresponds with it. And in the turbocharged era, I'll give an example. My BMW 6 Series with the previous generation 3-litre 6-cylinder engine, N55, there are many instances whereby you put your throttle down, nothing really registers, or some lag over there, and then you go down a bit further, the turbo spools up, and then it jerks you, right? And we have sort of got used to this behavior from cars, especially modern era turbocharged cars, to the extent where many people didn't notice just how comfortable a throttle like the one that this car has is. It is very comfortable. You know, I love driving it, and I feel so confident in being able to ferry I sent him to school this morning, and it's so easy for me to modulate the throttle, rolling at slow speeds like that, you know, and with my feet on the throttle, just, you know, easing and pressing, and then it gives a very comfortable ride. Now, the suspension of this car, now I'm in comfort mode, is sublime. It is able to just absorb everything away. Even though this car has some 21-inch wheels, it of course is an SUV. It's just so soothing. The way it reacts to the road, you know, is just so nice. Even if I go through the speed bump at a slightly higher speed, obviously there will be a lot of movement because this is a tall SUV, alright? But I mean, it's able to just ease out. Instead of, imagine it's a chart and then it goes like that, and this one goes like a wave, you know. Very nice. In terms of comfort, it beats the XC90 as well, definitely. I know you guys will say that, hey, of course, it's almost 200,000 more, right? 250,000 more, but hey, this is based off an X5 as a start. An X5 is a direct competitor of the XC90. And another thing is that this engine is creamy and smooth. 340 horsepower, 450 Newton meters of torque. It doesn't make that 4-cylinder, you know, noise, right? It makes a 6-cylinder sound, alright? One best thing is the turning circle of this car is actually pretty small. Why? It has rear wheel steer. Okay, with rear wheel steer, it's so easy to steer this car in just like a, you know, garden 2-lane road. Alright? As I'm driving in comfort mode, I believe the air suspension is at its middle setting. I can actually push it up further if I want to, and it will slowly, gradually go up. Okay? Now, this is not some North American model with a 4.4 V8 twin turbo, you know, with a lot of firepower. No, it is just a 3-liter ICE car, okay, internal combustion engine. I didn't read anything about whether it has a 48 volt. I bet it doesn't, but the start stop is so good. If it doesn't have a 48 volt, right, this car's start stop is one of the best, all right. It's just zoom and then it goes on. Okay, I'm at the tallest setting now. I can go back to the lower setting while I'm driving. Okay, I can immediately feel this. As it was going down, you know, I went through some bad roads. Okay, level changing not available. Okay, maybe I need to stop my car first in order to do that, now that the Myvi is out of my way. Okay, flashing, flashing, flashing. I don't know how many times it flashes, just when I need it. Okay, let's go all the way down. Oops, close message. Can I go down? Yes, of course. Yes, it's lowering the car. Eh, no. Should be. What? Oh, it's at its lower setting already. Okay, and I go into sports mode. Ooh. I can hear some sound just now. So I'm in sport. Is there a sport plus? No, there's only sport individual. Okay. Do you want to go sport plus in this car? Obviously not. And in terms of cornering, zipping around, the XC90 feels way better, solely because it is a slightly tighter package than this. Okay, and the proposition of this is to be chauffeured, but the XC90 was designed to be driven by the owner, just like an X5. So if you drive an X5, you like how it drives over the X7, that's roughly how an XC90 would feel. Okay, I mentioned the XC90 more because it is 7-seater, and this one is a 7-seater. And a lot of XC90 owners that I know are on their third XC90 because they never found a replacement. You know, they're on their third XC90 now. So I think this is a good replacement if you don't mind how it looks, because it's not a very pretty car, to be honest. Listen to that engine. What a nice note. BMW 6-cylinder engines. Is this car bad to drive? By all means, no. It is very, very well sorted as well. But given its size, that's why I mentioned that zipping around in the X5 or the XC90 is, or the Touareg for that matter, is more user-friendly in a way. Okay, that's an X5. And the X5 is handsome. If you wonder why they didn't just use the X5's looks on this car, they don't want you to feel that it's an X5 long wheelbase or an X5 7-seater version. No, they want to feel bespoke, and this car wants to give people that look, that imposing look that Range Rovers and Cullinans give. Okay, let's go back and have a look at its exterior design. Alright, I can tell the car is trying to be sporty here, you know, trying to be more immediate in its throttle response, in its braking, in its steering, and then it lowers the car. I can tell that, but it's not bad, to be honest. It's not bad in sports mode. Stark difference with the comfort setting, of course. I mean, it's a BMW. How bad can it drive? It's not uncomfortable, but it's huge. Okay, let's hilarious. Ooh. Big car is big. Let's go back here, get the car parked, and let's talk about its exterior design. Oh, the screen, the reverse camera, the 360-degree, the integration, fantastic, fantastic. Okay, here. Now, what do you think of the looks of the car? It's certainly very imposing. It's not something that can win beauty contests, but it's cool. Look at that. As you walk near the car, you know, the laser lights, the blue lighting, just get up and then it's damn cool. So the design of this car is unique to its own, alright? And in fact, when I went to the preview, they were like, these are the largest grille of any BMWs. I do not know why they even need to mention that, because is that a selling point? I'm not sure, okay? There's no reason for customers to go like, why are your grills not larger? I'm looking forward to buy if it is larger. Nobody has requested that. Okay, now down here we have something that looks like aero features, but basically this entire thing is more design, you know, the design matters more. I mean, if they have this little small holes here to drive some air, they don't need such a huge ornament to do it. So the whole thing about this car is the way it looks, all right? The need to make it look imposing, authoritative on the road, that's what they're looking for. That's what they designed this car to do. It's to come down at you, scares you, and move you out of the overtaking lane, the fast lane, okay? Look at these wheels. They are 21-inch, but you look at the height of the tire, the thickness of the tire, you will know how huge the wheel arches are. All right, this is a car that proportionately, it sort of looks all right, but actually everything has been enlarged to suit, you know, the proportions. Everything is just oversized about this car, okay? If you park it next to Lexus LX, that would sort of be home where it is, okay? The tail lamps, again, whichever angle of this car you look at it, right, it will not win any beauty contest, right? It is by no means a looker, but is it imposing? Yes, it is. Extremely imposing. But Range Rover proves that you can be imposing and good looking at the same time, right? Yeah, so that's the exterior view of the X7. Very tall car. I am 5'11". I am 5'11", and this is like at the top of my head. Okay, so it's a huge car, huge everything, you know, huge fuel cabinet, huge door handles, huge rims, huge tires, huge scut plates, huge. Even the hockey stick is huge. Even this one is huge. Of course, this one so-called vents some air, but again, like I said, they made it useful, you know. Why the vents are so small is because they actually don't really need it for aero. For aero, you want it to be as slippery as possible, but they don't want to be said or chastised that they're making it just fixed, like what their brethrens in Stuttgart does. Okay, yep, that's the BMW X7. Is it a good buy? Absolutely. It is a very, very good buy now that it is locally assembled and priced at about 600-ish thousand. For those who remember, before the X5 hybrid arrives Malaysia, X5 used to be a car that is 700,000 back then. All right, those people who bought the first generation Q7, X5s and all that, they paid some good money for it, 700 over 1,000. So for this car to be 650,000, to be a proper, genuine 7-seater car, even for adults, extremely comfortable and very, very well spec'd with the panoramic roofs, with everything, you know, the 5-zone climates and all that. This is a good buy. Okay, so yeah, go for it. Go for it. Is it very fast? Fast enough. Can I say that? It's fast enough. All right. You don't need like 4 second or 5 second. I mean, this car is like 6 over seconds to 100. It's fast enough. The most important thing, the thing that I appreciate the most, is that this car is smooth. Very, very smooth. Okay, one of the best throttle mapping cars out there is the throttle sharpness in terms of being able to modulate. That's the word I'm looking for, modulate. It's one of the best out there amongst turbocharged cars. All right, cheers.